why the Brexit is good for the UK and the rest of Europe. The reason is that it proves that in order to regain your freedom, you don't actually have to shed blood. Your people don't have to die. Europeans don't have to die. Yet you gain your freedom. The Brexit is going to set the path for other European countries who don't want to be under the EU's control to also take and have a vote of their own to exit the European Union. The only countries that I honestly don't believe would do that is countries such as Germany, and some of them countries that are very similar in nature to Germany. I don't believe that Germany will do it because it will become, as other countries start to fall, Germany itself will become the major power within the EU, and it'll give them the opportunity to do as they please. So the Brexit should be celebrated not only by the people of the UK, but by people of other countries who, at some point in time in the near future and not so distant future, will take and decide that they also want to take and exit the European Union. It will happen, but in order for it to happen, the Brexit had to have happened, which it did. The reason I say that is actually very simple. The UK has always been the most dominant force military force within the Europe continent. Second, and not too far off in reality, is Russia itself. The Russians are a very strong military country. They're also very bullheaded, much like the UK, which makes them so powerful. However, with the UK leaving, you lost a very dominant force. People may not recognize that at the current point in time. However, it will come to be realized that there's not a strong military presence as there used to be within the EU. Therefore, you'll start to notice other smaller countries will start to leave first, and then other major powerhouses will leave. Like I said, Germany will stay, and in my personal belief, it may not turn into a communist situation. However, it'll be very similar in nature, because Germany will be the new Russia, as Russia was during the USSR days. It'll be able to dictate to other countries what to do, when to do it, and how to go about doing it. That is the major disadvantage for these countries who are going to refuse to actually leave the European Union. However, the other countries will be able to dictate to themselves and amongst themselves what exactly they want to do military-wise, if they want to get involved in conflicts, wars, things of that nature. They'll also be able to dictate their financial statuses. They won't have to pay millions of dollars every day to the European Union. That is the reason that, in my full belief, the Brexit should be celebrated. And not only celebrated by the people of the UK, but also by other countries that are going to soon follow suit, because it shows, once again, like I said, that blood doesn't have to be shed in order to actually exit the European Union. The UK will see that they'll be fine, and once other countries start to realize, hey, the UK is actually doing good for itself, that's when you'll start to see these other countries start to follow suit, and you'll start to see that Germany will be one of the last standing, and countries that are very similar in nature to Germany will still stand. But at some point in time, I believe that some of these other countries that are similar in nature will actually start to follow suit as well. Unfortunately, at that point in time, there may be blood that's shed in order to leave the control of Germany.